Hey, what's up, guys? Dale Valor here, Modern Valor Dating. And today, we're going to do a special one-off that we do every once in a while where we bring a woman on to get a woman's perspective when it comes to dating and relationships. And so it's going to be pretty dope, man. Adita, I see you. Thanks for hopping in here early. All right, I'm going to bring her up now. Okay, just waiting 1 second. Takes a second to link it up. Hey, there she is. What's going on?
Hello, just chilling outside. How about you?
Just doing this. How do you pronounce your name? I didn't want to say it wrong.
Sadiqa.
Sadiqa, easy enough. Okay, that's exactly how I would have pronounced it too. So just so you know.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So guys. We're doing dating and relationship Q&A. So if you have any burning questions that you want to get answered, and on top of that, you can get Sadiqa's point of view from a woman's perspective. That's super dope. So definitely throw that out there, and we will knock it out for you. But until some questions start to line up a little bit, what's some stuff that you got working on that you've been working on that you want to throw out there?
Well, I have started, well, first off, obviously my modeling is one thing. Trying to get back into the acting world. I know with everything going on with COVID, it's kind of hard to get back into it. So I'm just trying to do like baby steps there, working with some boutiques now. A great thing about doing like an Instagram modeling is that you can get like sent things and then take photos of that like with a photographer like locally, so you don't have to travel. So that's
that's
really
dope.
cool. Yeah.
No, that's real cool. That's real cool. What's your favorite kind of modeling?
I definitely think my favorite kind of modeling is editorial fashion. So like think of like the Vogue style. So crazy poses, like really fun, like unique. I like things that have like a lot of character and personality.
I got you. Okay. All right. Adia says, you were too hot and sexy. Well, listen, man, I appreciate that. I don't particularly go that way myself, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'd love to hear some questions, or like, I mean, I don't know what anyone's looking to know, but I would love to give insight on anything.
Well, I'll start off and just, ask you a couple questions until some kind of come in here. What's up, Mosin? I see you. Thanks for hopping in here. Appreciate that. So, being in the modeling world and things like that, do you find that this is something that I've heard commonly with girls that I talk to that model and things like that, where they actually don't get approached as much as what one might think, because of they're just intimidated by the fact that you're paid to look good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, it comes across as maybe somewhat intimidating to guys. So do you find that that's a problem or anything like that?
I do notice that I have been called intimidating before, but it's usually because I have like I guess you could say like a resting bitch face. And so a lot of people don't know that my personality is actually a lot more like excitable and like uppity, because whenever you look at my Instagram photos or just like any of my modeling photos in general, it shows like this whole nother person. Like I look like I'm very like down. And so sometimes like I remember when I was on a date with this one guy, and he said that I seemed like a whole nother person just because like I was so different. Like I was so much more like exciting and happy versus what I look like in all of my photos, essentially.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah. So, I mean, some of your, like, going through some of your pictures, like, you do kind of have a stoic type of look. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I get that, because, like, from the videos and things like that, and I know this is completely from a different angle, but, the way that I present myself in video and public speaking and things like this, I'm very high energy. I'm very, you know, and obviously I'm not like that all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, if I was like that all the time, I'd have a heart attack or something, you know, like nobody can be like that all the time.
I mean,
and,
you'd be surprised. I used to be like that all the time. Back in high school, I would be very, I know I saw some of my friends chimed in, so I just wanted to say hi, Jessica and Madison. But I know back in high school, I used to be very, very uppity, and like people would get annoyed because every day I would come to school and I would be like super excited, and they were like, "How are you this happy? It's like 7 a.m." And I'm like, "I don't know, I love life." And now it's actually like I've dulled down a bit. I think that might be because of the modeling. Maybe I learned to like culturally, you know, what is more culturally appropriate in certain situations. But I'm definitely still like that. So.
Yeah. And I mean, on set, you're probably being directed on some level, I'm sure, to where, you know.
Whenever you're on set, you don't always, like, it kind of depends on your experience level and then, like, the photographer that you're working with. And so usually if you're a very experienced model, they don't even have to direct you. They'll just be like, okay, there's an idea, and then you just work from that idea.
Yeah, I get you.
Unless they have a certain vision. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. All right, I get it. NBA XD Gamer, I see you. What's up, man? Appreciate you hopping in here, and everybody else that's popped up here. If you guys have dating or relationship questions, make sure you throw them out, and you know, we'll definitely chop it up. And so, yeah, it's good to get a dating coach's perspective and from a woman's perspective too. You know, so you get both sides of it, I suppose.
I want some good questions. Now, I think somebody should ask some like really good ones. I'm ready.
Well, one of the questions that we get, one of the questions that we get commonly is, you know, how to show confidence in, because confidence is attractive to everyone.
Yes.
Right. So, how to show confidence when approaching a girl like yourself, even if you, on the inside, you're nervous. Yeah. You know, like, do you fake it till you make it? Or do you, like, just let it be known, like, look, I'm terrified right now, but I'm going to talk to you anyway? Like, how do you feel? How would you respond to something like that?
I can tell you, like, one of the best ways to come off as, like, confident whenever you're talking to a girl is to be sure of yourself and like not expect to be like let down, but at the same time, like if they do let you down, like if you approach a girl and you're like, hey, I just wanted to tell you you're really beautiful or something of that line, and like, oh, could I have your number? And then the girl goes, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, or I'm sorry, like I'm not interested, then just accepting it and moving on. Because there's been way too many times, like I've been out like with my friends, for instance. I can give you one specific time. I was at the fair, and my friend and I were like kind of chilling, waiting for other friends to come off of a ride. And these guys like approached us and said like, oh, like, can I have your numbers? And like, you guys are so pretty. And I was like, oh, we have boyfriends or something. And they, along the lines, like, were very offended and insisted that, oh, where are your boyfriends at? Like, why don't you, like, I don't see them anywhere around here. So I think that's very unattractive, and that can be a big turnoff. So even if they like at that point you're already denied, like we're not gonna accept you, or you know, we're not gonna like want to go out with you if you're like trying to force yourself. The same thing with DMs. I've had a couple DMs from people, and I'm not gonna name any names here, but there are some people that will DM me and like I'll DM them back and like I'll be polite, but then they'll consistently try to push to get my number or something. And I told them like, you know, like I'm not interested. And then they'll get really offended and like go off on me. And I think that, and then they'll continue on to be like, oh, so you're still beautiful. Like, will you still give me, like, no, I'm not.
Sorry about doing that, by the way.
Oh, no, you didn't do that. It was not you at all. It's just,
I know, I'm kidding.
Somebody, though, recently that I went off, it was so rude. I'm like, how are you? They're so rude because you didn't give them your number. And I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense. Okay, but guys have to chase. Okay, I see that.
Yeah. He's one of he's anytime we go live, NBA XD gamers in here. You know what I mean? So he's definitely one of my favorite people that follow us for sure.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Do you guys have to chase? Yeah, I definitely believe guys have to chase. I think that the confusion there is like, we're not saying not to chase us. We're just saying that if we give off a vibe that we're not super interested, to like understand that. Chasing too much is a thing though too. I very much so advocate for leaving a little bit more to the mystery and don't giving off too much. Because you want to like get to know someone over time. You want to like make it interesting. And if you're just too forward with them and you're too like, you give away all your cards right off the bat, then there's no point, you know? So when you first start talking, don't just like fawn all over them. Like, oh, you're so beautiful and this way and this way. And all, I mean, saying it one time is one thing, but consistently having compliments can like make it to where it's not as interesting. Like there's nothing for us to like, I don't know how to explain that, but.
Well, this is the way that when I'm doing coaching and things like that, I definitely recommend that guys don't chase, in the sense of, you know, like kind of to allude to what, you know, you just said.
But a girl's not gonna chase, though, because I will not chase. Because I will not chase.
Well, here's the thing, though. There's a difference between chasing and you showing interest. Yeah. Right? So let's define what chasing is, okay? So like when I tell a guy not to chase, okay, that doesn't, I'm not advocating that means that a girl has to chase you. What I'm saying is when, look for the signs, you know, because most girls, I mean, and maybe you're this way, maybe you're not, I don't know, everybody's different, but in the general sense, most women aren't going to approach a guy and be like, wow, you're so hot. Yeah. I got to get to know you. You know, like that's not going to happen, you know, very likely. So, you know, as a guy, you go up, you start a conversation. And when she starts showing what I call indicators of interest, you know, starts reciprocating a little bit, then you can start kind of like laying out your intent, you know, in the sense of like, hey, you know what, you seem like cool people. And, you know, it seems like we got some things in common, and, you know, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. How can we continue this conversation? Why don't we exchange numbers? You know, something like that. That's not chasey. To me, chasey is like what you said. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Can I please have a scrap of your time? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that comes across as weak, lame, and chasing, you know? So now by you showing interest, we're having a conversation, say, and I'm getting signs that, okay, she's showing some interest to me. That doesn't mean that you're chasing me. Mm-hmm. All that means is, okay, you're digging the vibe here that we got going on. And so I'm going to take it, I'm going to push it to the next level here. Yeah. You know, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, to answer his statement, you know, as a guy, you don't have to chase. But at the same time, you have to take the initiative and be assertive enough to go out there and talk to women that you find attractive or that you want to get to know. Yeah. You know, and have a part of, you know, potentially have her be a part of your life on some level, you know. So, but you definitely have to take assertiveness. But that's like me saying, yo, I'm hungry. I'm going to order a pizza. And so am I chasing the pizza place by placing my order? You know, no, I'm just saying what it is that I want. You know, not being needy. You know, the pizza guy on the other end of the line's like, oh, this needy ass guy wanting pizza. You know, no, he's just taking my order. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the way that I would break it down. You know, so I think it's just defining on what chasing is. You know. All right, Xavier, I see your question, man. Do you believe all females are different? Kind of scrolled off the screen for me.
Book covers, but same contents.
Okay. All right, I get it. All right. So, do you believe that, you know, all females are different you know, in the sense of the covers might be different, but inside it's kind of the same. Do you what would you
Weirdly,
say to that?
I think that in a certain way, a lot of girls are very similar in the way that we like to be approached. And I think that guys are very dramatically different though, but for girls it's kind of like, then again, I mean, I just noticed with guys you can do pickup lines, like they'll do pickup lines and stuff, and like all this other, like I have girls that I know that do pickup lines on guys and they like it, and then other guys like think it's distasteful. Whereas most women, I think in general, tend to like, regardless, good conversation. Like if we talk to you, like if we text you, we don't want to just get like, oh, hey, what's up? How's it, you know? And I get that so often, and that's not, I mean, there's nothing that's appealing there. And I think every woman can like agree on that, but guys continually do it. So I feel like, we're not all the same, obviously. Like everyone is their own person and they all have their own ways and thought processes and everything. But at the end of the day, we all just want to connect with people. And that's the main takeaway, is like, we want to feel a connection. We don't just want like the basic generics. Be creative.
Yeah. Here's how I would put it, Xavier. You know, here's the deal, man. Everybody's different, but everybody's the same. And I know that's like, sounds like super, I don't know, oxymoronic or something like that.
It makes sense though, when you think about it.
Everybody, I mean, human nature is human nature.
Exactly.
Right? Like if I come up and slap you, you're going to be mad. Why? Because you got slapped, you know? I mean, that's human nature, right? So
exactly.
Now the thing is that as much as human nature is, there's obviously going to be distinctive differences. You know, everybody has specific tastes and likes and interests and things they don't like and things like that. So you may like, Sadiqa might like to be approached in a certain way, as to where some other girl, that might turn her off in that particular context. You know what I mean? But the goal being the same. You want to be able to connect with somebody. You want to be able to, you know, have a relationship with somebody that makes sense for you and things like that. But there might be some, you know, subtle differences to the way that you approach, to the way that you look. You know, it's like, look, every cereal, you know, you go down the cereal aisle at the store, you know, there's 100 different types of cereal. Well, they're all cereal. You eat them for breakfast. You put it in a bowl and put milk on it. But, you know, some are going to taste like Frosted Flakes and some are going to taste like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be a little bit different, you know, and you're not going to grab every cereal box on the shelf because, well, you don't want the other cereal boxes to feel bad that you didn't choose them. You know, it's just, oh, you just have a particular taste for what it is that you like, and so that's what you're going to get. Yeah. You know, so yeah, that's how I would explain that or break that down.
That makes sense.
You know, so yeah. So any of you other guys, you have any kind of dating or relationship questions, you know, throw them out there. We're going to chop it up with you, get you set straight, and send you on your way. So another question, you know, that we get quite often is, how is it that you like to be approached? You know, like what, in the sense of, you know, what is an attractive approach to you? You know, if a guy walks up, what could he say to you that would like get your attention? You just wouldn't blow him off.
Having a witty like phrase or something is pretty good, and like calling something out about me that is like witty. So like maybe something I'm wearing, or like something that, like a conversation that he was a part of or something, and then he like kind of just makes a witty comment about it towards me. Like that's like that's attractive. I think being intelligent is extremely attractive. So having like confidence while doing it, and then smiling, and not coming off like intimidating in there, because like when guys come off intimidating, it's scary, you know. And of course same thing with girls, but like it makes it to where we're like we can't really see who they really are. So like just coming up very inviting and safe, like somebody said, like good feeling and safe. Yeah, like being very like inviting and comfortable and like confident, and then That's a big thing. And intelligent.
All right, I got you. Here's one thing, and I'm glad you touched on that about safety, feeling safe and things like that. This is something I try to reinforce with the guys that I work with, and that's, as men, we generally don't see things from a girl's perspective, in that all the things that you're attracted to in a guy are also things that could harm you. You know what I mean? In the sense of, like, I'm, as a man, generally, I guess, I'm going to be bigger, stronger, faster than you, and so, and that could turn out bad in the wrong situation, So, I try to reinforce, like, look, you got to look at it like this. What if you were gay and you were attracted to, like, linebackers on football teams? Mm-hmm. That's what it would be. That's what it's like for them all the time. Yeah. So, so I try to reinforce safety in showing that, look, like, I'll put it like this, whenever I'm on Tinder or Bumble or something like that, anytime I start having a connection online with a girl, like, immediately somewhere in the conversation, when we're talking about meeting up and that kind of thing, well, you're not a serial killer, are you? Like, okay, like, the odds of you running into a serial killer are, like, next to zero. But no, I'm not a serial killer. In fact, I take safety very seriously. And so what I'll recommend, I'll say, hey, listen, if you want, give, if you want to have somebody call you when we're hanging out, because I know we don't really know each other, if you want to have somebody call you just to make sure that you're okay, that's totally fine by me. I will not be offended at that. And as a matter of fact, if you want, give a couple of your friends my phone number. If they need to get at you for any reason, and if they can't, who knows what happens, like you lose your phone or it's not working right or something, they can always get at me, and, then you can talk to them via my phone. So, I always try to reinforce that, because it's such a huge concern, and guys kind of gloss over it because, they don't have any ill intent, more often than not. And so it just doesn't ever come to mind. And then sometimes I feel like that they're offended because they're like, well, I'm not trying to do anything to you. I'm not trying to hurt you. Why would you even think that? Yeah. Well, it's not that you think that about you. It's like, you think that in general. So, yeah, so I'm glad that you touched on that.
It's a big deal because, like, I guess, like, when it comes to like, girls talking to guys, like, sometimes guys even get like afraid that women, especially with online dating, I've noticed, they're afraid that women are catfish, and so they're afraid to give women their information. But I'm like, to be honest with you, like, before, like, just be smart. Like, you can kind of tell if someone's a catfish or not. Reverse Google image something too, like, if you need to. Like, it's not like
you've done your homework.
Yeah, come on, girls. If you give us your first name, we're gonna find out exactly where you lived in, like, 3rd grade. So I'm not gonna lie, it's not out of creepiness or, like, out of us trying to be a stalker. It's just out of pure, like, wanting to know, like, who you are as a person before we go out with you. And then, as much as they don't tell you, we tell our best friends, we tell our parents, we tell everyone where we're located. We have our GPS on. We have our best friend, maybe even, like, my best friend went out on a Tinder date, and it was our first Tinder date. And I remember my boyfriend and I at the time, my ex-boyfriend, we went to the Starbucks where it was happening, and we sat, like, multiple seats away just to, like, make sure that she was alive, like that she would be okay. We did that 2 times actually, and it worked out fine. The guy never knew. I mean, he didn't know who we were yet, so it didn't make a difference. But yeah, safety is a huge thing, and I think more people should normalize that, because so many guys are creeped out about it. Like, oh, you just don't trust me. Like, it's not I don't trust you. Actually, it is I don't trust you because I don't know you. Right.
No, and I get it. One time, to lend to what you're saying, I meet this girl on Tinder, right? And we're, it's our first time meeting each other. And we go to this, like, bar restaurant, and it was on a regular weeknight, and it's a place I frequent. And so I kind of know the patterns of, you know, when it's going to be busy and when it's not. And it was surprisingly busy. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, there's a lot of people here tonight. You know, it was surprising. And anyway, date went well. You know, we were talking, and we were there probably for, I don't know, 2-3 hours, something like that. And later she tells me, she was like, hey, I got to tell you something. I think you'll find it funny. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, well, I want you to know that that was actually my first date that I've ever been on in my life.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and she kind of lied to me. She said that she was older than she was, you know, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. And anyway, I mean, she was an adult. Let's start with that. She wasn't 15 or something. But anyway, she goes on to tell me, she was like, you know, it was like a big deal with all my friends and family and all this stuff that I was going on my first date. And so my entire family was there and all my friends were there. But you had no idea. And I was just like, you gotta kidding me. At least I didn't say anything like off color or something.
That's
you know what I mean?
A little bit much though, I think. Like if you invite your entire family and friends, I'm like, all right, we get it. It's not like a birthday party, you know? Like
right. All right, here's a question. Oops.
Okay.
Jumps right off the screen.
I saw that, I know.
Oh. Okay. Weirdly, would you prefer a gay guy who turned back or an alpha male type who like
Kylie's?
Oh, okay, gotcha. As a boyfriend. That is a strange question.
I mean, are those my only options? Is that the question, or is it like
it's either this or this. There's only two options.
I don't know if you mean like more of like a feminine type guy or more like a masculine guy, or if you mean, I'll answer both. Okay, so if you mean directly, literally a gay guy who turned back, or an alpha male. I mean, if you say alpha male, like, that sounds nice, but, like, I don't like 𝐒𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐐𝐀 at all. Like, I'm not really into that type of person, but I do like alpha males, so it depends on the alpha male. But if I had to go literally with 𝐒𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐶𝐃 or a gay guy who turned back, I'd probably go with the gay guy that turned back, because I would, because I'm not into 𝐒𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐶𝐃 at all, and also, like, who knows, like, they turned back, so they're not gay anymore, and nothing against gay, you know, but, I mean, they turned back, so obviously they're not, and also, maybe they'd give me good advice on, like, stuff. Maybe they'd...
You just want to do your hair. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah. Maybe they tell me... I mean, I'll be honest. Every boyfriend I've had always points out, like, oh, like, this is wrong with your makeup. Like, blend this in. Or, like, this is it. Like, that would be nice, too. Like, they could do my makeup. I'm not opposed. But my specific type of guy that I'm interested in is someone who is more masculine. But that's just that's very based off of different, you know, people. I'll see my friends' types, and we'll be on Tinder swiping together, and they'll be like, "Oh, isn't he so cute?" And I'll be like, "Okay," like, but that's just my opinion, and that's, you know, very
well
dependent.
To be fair, like on something like Tinder, right? It's kind of hard to tell if somebody is what you might consider masculine just based off of some pictures. You know what I mean? Obviously, their personality isn't 100% showing through, and it's hard to, like, you know, I mean, and that goes both ways, you know, like, you know, I can look at girls on Tinder and maybe try to get a sense of their personality based on their pictures and maybe their little short bio. But you don't really know.
No.
You know, I mean, it circles back to what you were saying about with modeling. You come across as kind of stoic and resting bitch face, as to where, but in real life, you're not that at all. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I'll give an example. Also, just another thing, like, if we're talking about online dating, I know it's so popular right now, so I just want to hit a few points on that too. My last boyfriend, actually, I remember we were friends before we dated.
Yeah.
And I would, like, look at his Tinder profile and I would, like, judge it and stuff. This was long before I was, like, interested in him. We developed a good friendship first. And I'm looking through it and I would like, judge stuff, and I'd be like, dude, like, this is a horrible profile. Like, I would never swipe right. And now I'm looking back on it, like, I would have never gone out with him, like, ever. I mean, maybe that would have been a good thing, but no. It's just like, you can realize that there are certain people, like, the way that they just like display themselves isn't actually who they are. So I say make sure that you're very good on the way you present yourself, especially in the modern age. And I hate to say that because I don't like social media, believe it or not, as someone who is on Instagram.
I'm with you. I absolutely hate it, but it's a necessary evil for what it is that we do.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Like, sometimes it gets very annoying, but the way that you present yourself is so important on online and on social media in general. So having a good Instagram too, like, Instagram has become a good dating site in my opinion.
It is.
I think,
I agree.
Yeah, like, I think it's better than Tinder because then you get to see like more of their life, and I get to watch their stories and stuff over time and develop if I potentially like them more so than just swiping right. Another also, I think that what is it, Bumble and Hinge are very good versus Tinder in general. I think Tinder is like the original, but those are
I prefer Bumble myself to Tinder, you know,
more information.
There was something you said I wanted to circle back to. I know what it was. So you had said, like, if you may have not have went out with that guy based on his profile because he didn't really seem like how he actually is based on that profile.
Yeah.
What I try to tell guys that I'm working with is to, you know, make everything that you do authentic and congruent to who you are. So, you know, instead of just having just like a bunch of pictures of you taking selfies or just, you know, you leaning up against a tree or something, you know, do like action shots of things that you actually, you know, that you actually enjoy doing. So if you're like a kind of guy.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna hit.
Go ahead.
I was gonna hit real quick. One thing though about his profile was it was only action shots, and so that was one thing. Like, he rode a motorcycle, and his profile was literally just him with his helmet on, like riding his bike. And then there was one photo of him like super cheesing, holding a cake, like this terrible photo of him like in Universal, like that, and like a really weird description. And he talks about this tattoo he had that he thought was super dope and stuff like that. Like, so don't do too many action, like variate it, you know?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, this is like for instance, say you I forget how many pictures they allow you, but like we'll say it's 10. All right.
Yeah.
So you know, have half of them be action shots of you doing things that you legitimately like to do. If you like to go to the beach, take some pictures at the beach. If you like to, like you said, like ride bikes, you know, maybe a one or two of you riding a bike, and then have other ones that kind of show off, you know, like, for instance, your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like you're looking into the camera, you know, things like that. And another thing too is I recommend, now you may feel differently about this, I don't know, but one thing that I recommend is having pictures with you with other girls. I
don't know. I'm thinking back, like, so for instance, like, I dated this one dude. We went to like Spain together and stuff, and I'm thinking, like, if he had put, like, if he has a Tinder or something, and he's putting photos of me and him like in Spain on there to like entice another girl, I don't know. I think, like, if I saw that and I was like another girl, I would be like. Well,
here's the reason behind it.
You know.
All right. Well,
and I mean,
put it in context.
But I would be a suspect if I was another girl. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's why I say that. Now, when I say a picture with you and another girl, I don't mean you fucking her or something like that. You know what I mean? But what I mean is a picture of like maybe say like it's clearly somebody's birthday party at a bar or something like that, and maybe you got your arms around like a couple of girls or something like that, you know, where it's just fun. And the reason for that is because if, you know, again, it goes back to safety. You know, a lot of times women are concerned that, you know, like the guy's creepy. Maybe he's creepy in real life, or he's a weirdo,
or
you know, and what that shows is like, okay, here's some girls in this picture. If he was that creepy or that potentially, you know, dangerous or something like that, he's probably not going to have girls around him.
That's true.
Because they're going to think he's creepy too.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I would suggest, like, maybe though, like in the picture, like I've seen a couple where like the girls like look super on them, like they're like, oh, like fawning, like that looks kind of like, eh. Maybe some girls are into that, but I'd say if it's a group photo with even guys and girls in it, like it shows you have friends, like friend photos, and they
exactly that's exactly what I mean.
And they're all smiling. Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I've seen a couple where it's like the girls on them and it's like on them, like.
Yeah, well, I made the mistake early on when I like signed up for Tinder. Like, I'm not the most photogenic person in the world, so I have to take what I can get. If I think I look good in a picture, I'm going to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had one of this very attractive girl, you know, basically, you know, kissing me on the cheek and looking, you know what I mean, looking all, you know, like she's into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's weird, I think, for...
Yeah. And in retrospect, that's something that I shouldn't have put up there. But
I understand.
Yeah, but I eventually ended up swapping that out for something else. But yeah, now that's not a mistake that I would make again by using that same picture. You know, I would use a different picture because as a matter of fact, that picture had gotten taken at me and some friends went camping. You know, it was a girl I was dating at the time, and you know, and a bunch of friends. There was other pictures I could have used of us like chilling around a campfire or something, or you know what I mean, water skiing or something like that, you know? So, yeah, but I wouldn't recommend using a picture like that for sure now. True. I just didn't know any better at the time, you know? But,
yeah, I know. I think a lot of people don't, and it's a trial and error situation. And some people are wondering, oh, here's a funny little snippet. Another thing, like, Zac Efron actually, a lot of people don't know, Zac Efron was actually on normal Tinder. And he had his photos up there and everything, and he was really witty and funny. Like, it said what school he went to, and he said, like, East Side or whatever the name of the high school was from High School Musical. Yeah. And no one believed it. So he literally, like, didn't have any matches, and he said he was super depressed because he thought people just, like, weren't into him. And it turned out that people thought he was, like, catfishing. So sometimes if you're too good of a profile where you're, like, too many professional photos. Or, like, so if you're, like... If you are like someone who happens to know a photographer and all your pictures are like camera professional photos, and that's the ones you want to put on.
Yeah, I agree.
It can be a little bit much because people think that you're just stealing them off the internet too.
Yep.
So
you know,
gotta throw a phone one in there. Go on.
Eminem did the same thing actually.
Really?
There were. Yep. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm in Detroit, and that's where you know he's at, and. I was even talking to some girls who came across his profile on Tinder and stuff and was like, you know, I said something to the effect of like, I don't really think that was him. I think it was just somebody just made a profile or something like that. And as it turned out, there was actually an article that came out like on some blog site or something that said that it was actually Eminem, you know, so.
And you can feel so bad because like they genuinely like were trying to date, and like people, the swipe rights they probably got were not from like people they wanted to date.
Well, that happens to us all.
Yeah, that's true. But then for them especially, I'm like, because there's no way like normal people would be like, you know. Yeah.
Well, you know, one thing that kind of you know to add on to what you're saying is sometimes, you know, like people that are like guys that are how can I put it, high value in the sense of, you know, like whatever, movie star, you know, hip hop artist, you know, whatever, right? Surprisingly, they get shot down more than what people think, you know, because the thing is that it's not about, you know, like they think that they're ugly or, you know, or not attractive or whatever. It boils down to that your average everyday, you know, girl, you know, that works at the mall or something, she can't it's beyond her capacity of reality.
Yeah.
I would never fit into that person's world, you know, and they might not reciprocate on the strength of, I wouldn't even know how to function. I feel like I would embarrass myself, in that world.
That's really funny you mentioned, because I read this one thing one time about this. So this was long before Justin Bieber got married, and he was on Instagram. He saw like an ad for a gym, and it was this one girl, just like, it was like a local ad or something. I don't even know. She was like, doing a little boomerang in the ad, and he messaged the gym and was like, who is this girl? And then the girl found out about it, and then she like shot him down publicly, posted his like him talking to the gym and everything, and like posted it all over social media, and was like, I have a boyfriend. Like, why on earth would, like, and also like, you're so this and that, like, why would I ever want to date you? And like, you're just trying to find normal girls because you think you can take advantage of us. And yeah, you're right. They're definitely like, and you'd think that that would be an easy one for him. Like, oh, she's cute. Like, she's totally gonna be into me, you know? No, it's a random girl shot him down.
Yeah. Not that he's in any, you know, him or anybody else in that same position is any lack of getting dates, I'm sure, you know, but
it's funny, you know, to think about that.
Yeah, it is. You know, one of the ways that when I'm coaching, that I tell guys to convey who they are, because you never know, like for instance, you know, like myself, you know, I have Modern Valor Dating, but I also own 2 real estate companies as well. And, you know, so often there's been plenty of times where I'm talking to a girl that I find attractive at one of the places around here that we go to often. And not that, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm like way like above her or anything like that. That's not what I mean at all. But it's just that she can't see, like, she's cool to have some flirty banter and stuff in the moment. But when it comes to like actually like dating or hanging out or something like that, she can't see herself being a part of this busy lifestyle and all that kind of stuff, you know? And, you know, one of the ways to kind of counteract that is to explain it in a story. Explain it, not what you do, but why you do it and how you came apart, or how that came to be. You know, so instead of being like, oh, I'm an actor, you probably know me from, like the guy on The Simpsons, you know, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such movies as this and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of something like that, you know, being like, yeah, you know, I'm an actor. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I tried out for this school play. And I was so scared. And I, you know, I thought that I was going to fail and not remember my lines and everyone's going to laugh at me. But you know what? I went out there and I did it. And I got such a rush that I just knew that this is something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I worked and I worked and I worked and, you know, just tried out for all these things. And finally something hit for me. You know, that lands so much better than just being like, yep, I'm an actor. You might know me from this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because you're getting a snapshot into who that person actually is and why they do what they do. And, you know, the other person can see it inside your head. You know, you're envisioning this. As I'm telling a story, you can see it. Yeah. You know, it's almost like you're there seeing it yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a much better way of doing it.
I agree. I think that like giving like a good backstory and like having like good, like actually describing things. And a lot of the times though, like whenever you're in a rush, I've noticed if I'm talking to like a bunch of people and I'm in a rush and I'm like trying to like message a bunch of people, I will like sometimes just like give like one sentence, you know, sorry. I'll like
broke up a little bit.
Like a one sentence or something, and then I'll be like, wait, like why did I do that? Like that's not even like in my personality. But we get into the habit of doing that when we're in a rush sometimes. So I think that like really getting to think like, you know, who's important or like what's important and like what to say specifically to people. Like even having, you know what I've heard people do? They have it in their notes and they'll just copy and paste it, like their life story for the first message. And honestly, that's not a bad move. Just like start it off. Oh, Mary, that's you, Edgar Allan. I was like wondering who would say that. So I have that username. Sorry, it's a friend of mine. I was like,
oh, you're good. You're good.
I
I'm with you. You know, like copying and pasting, you know, like in online dating or something, or you know, on Tinder or something like that. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't recommend not to do it. You know, if it's something that works, that kind of opens the door. You know,
exactly. It should just be like a one time. I think like the first message maybe could be, but after that, if you do it, then like there's nothing, you know, personal there.
I used back in the day when Plenty of Fish was more of a thing. I used to have one that I used as kind of an opener when I would be messaging girls. I just copied and pasted that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it got across what it was that I was trying to say. And, like, do I need to be so authentic as I have to actually type it out each and every time? You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting across the same point, you know, so let me just copy and paste this. And nobody hardly ever believed it anyway. It was just jokey. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing was like, hey, me and my buddy, we were looking at profiles on Plenty of Fish, and I'm paraphrasing. It was worded much better than this, but me and my buddy was looking at profiles on Plenty of Fish, and he saw your profile, and he said that profile is too perfect. There is no way that person is real. It's got to be a catfish. But me being the man that I am, I stuck up for you, and I said no. This profile is legit. So you gotta, you know, we got $20 riding on this. So is your profile real or not? Please be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and that worked. Like, it was ridiculous how much that worked.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and nobody ever really believed it hard. I mean, some people did, but most girls would just be like, oh my God, that is hilarious. I know it's bullshit, but that is so funny. And, you know, like, this is the best opener I've heard all week, you know, that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to run with this now, you know? And so, yeah, I used to do it all the time. It got to the point of, like, you know, having so many interactions and getting so many numbers, it was getting to be a part-time job keeping up with,
that's not a problem.
with everything, you know? So, yeah.
Someone says it works until it doesn't. That's true. Like, a big thing would be like if you accidentally message two friends the same thing.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work, I think.
I made that mistake with that very thing that we're talking about. And one time, I used it on Plenty of Fish, and then I was using OkCupid too, and I actually messaged it to the same girl on different, you know what I mean, on different platforms.
I would be like, it's just so you know it's me. You know, you got to recover that.
And she didn't really care. She was just like, you know, like I knew it was just made up anyway, you know, and all that. But I was just like, oh, damn it, you know. But yeah, it worked out. It worked out. So, guys, look, you know, if you have any dating or relationship questions, throw them out there. We're happy to chop it up with you and, you know, give you the best answer money can buy that you're getting for free. So throw it out there, and we're happy to oblige. So, yeah. So, you know, another question, you know, that we get oftentimes is, you know, rejection.
Yeah.
Like handling rejection. So, you know, and I know, you know, from a woman's perspective, oftentimes, you know, like I'm sure you rarely get rejection, you know, because you're probably not approaching guys like that. You know what I mean?
I get
and so,
yeah.
Yeah, so you're not getting rejected in the same way that guys get rejected quite often when they're just going around trying to talk to people, you know. How would you recommend, though, you know, if you shoot a guy down, how he should respond to that rejection?
He should just, like, I mean, sometimes, like, it depends. Are you friends with this person or if you're not? And if you're friends with them, like, just taking it and just being like, okay, no problem. Make them feel comfortable. Continue your friendship. Don't make it feel awkward or weird. Because that's, like, the worst type of rejection, I think, is when, like, you get rejected by your friend and then you're like, is this going to ruin our friendship?
You see that person all the time.
Exactly. But then if you, like, get rejected and you just, like, see, like, it's by, like, some random girl on the street or something. I think the best way to handle that would just be like, okay, well, I just wanted to tell you that like if you said they look beautiful and asked your number, whatever, be like, I just want to tell you that you look beautiful. Like, I hope you have a great day, and just be very optimistic about it and walk away. Like, if you sulk about it, it just gives off a bad vibe. Not that it matters because you'll never see them again, but it matters for your confidence, and like knowing that you could walk away with confidence from something like that is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, a lot of the guys that I work with tend to be guys that have had very little to no success with, you know, just approaching a girl at a bar or a club or, you know what I mean? The mall or anywhere else. And so,
go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. So, you know, they have very little to no experience with that, let alone success, if they've even ever done it, you know? So, you know, they oftentimes, they don't know how to handle rejection, you know, and they just like, it like completely destroys their confidence and, you know, self-esteem and things like that. And, you know, one of the things that I try to reinforce is that, like, look, you know, you're going to get rejected. I mean, that's just part of the game, you know, I mean, it's just how it goes. But second to that, you know, she's not necessarily rejecting you as a person. She just, all she saw was, you know, 10 seconds of you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't really know, you know, your interests, your personality, who you are, anything like that. She's rejecting your approach.
That's true.
You know, and so don't take that to heart. Next time, let's approach better. You know, let's figure something out that's going to land better. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And
yeah. I was going to say the biggest thing is I had this one guy that I was friends with too. Also, this one guy I was friends with, he continually got rejected, and he was not an unattractive guy. Like, don't get me wrong. He was actually very attractive. And it turned out, like, part of it was just, like, the way he was, like, I guess the way he was dressing and acting, and like don't forget, like, to take care of yourself. The biggest thing too, like, make sure that you're dressed confidently so that you have confidence, you know, and whatever it is you want to wear, make sure that it's what you want to wear. It exudes your personality. I'm very big on fashion, so I think that you shouldn't necessarily keep up with the trends. Do whatever you want to do, and just make sure that you're happy with it. Express yourself through your clothing. Be very like okay with the rejection, because and also, like, kind of like I said, leaving mystery is a big thing. So not like coming off too, I think the biggest thing with this one guy was he came off way too, like, he got rejected so many times that I got to the point where he would, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He was like clingy. Talking to a girl, and he wasn't necessarily rejected immediately, but he would get rejected within like a day or two, and then he'd always get blocked on Snapchat, like, always. And it was because he'd never said anything inappropriate. He was never like that. He was just very clingy. But yeah, another thing with another guy that I knew was that he never, like, dressed confidently. He never, like, cared about what he looked like, and all that stuff is important. We need to make sure, like, hygiene and stuff like that. I wanted to give this guy a makeover so bad, just because he was such a great guy, and he would have had he had so much potential, you know. It's just he didn't, like, try to be his best self.
No, I get you.
Be your best self, no matter what.
And that's exactly it. You know, oftentimes, and I'm super glad that you came on here and broke some things down and stuff like that from your perspective, because oftentimes the advice that you get, like, as a guy from women in terms of, like, dating and things like that, is two things. It's be yourself and just be confident. Well, okay, you know, I say be your best self, right? And rather than being confident, because, you know, what confidence? I mean, it's almost like saying, what is love? You know what I mean? Like, it's ethereal. Everyone has their own definition of what it is. So instead of being confident, be competent. you know, because you're not going to really be confident until you start having successes, you know. Then when you start having successes, not only are you competent, now you're confident too. So you have the best of both worlds there. So, you know, when it comes to looks and things like that, fortunately for guys, you know, looks plays a part of it, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's much, much more important, like for you, to feel attractive and to, you know what I mean, to put your best foot forward in how you present yourself than it is for a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I tell guys, look, you know, basically what you want to do is you want to have some semblance of some kind of style that's a little bit different, that's not the same as everybody else is doing.
Exactly.
And be well groomed.
You want to stand out.
Not just groomed, not just combed your hair and brushed your teeth. You know, like, get somewhat of a stylish haircut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get some, like I wear this kind of shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like, this kind of stuff and rings and all that.
Because it looks good, you know?
Thank you. And it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't really see that often, you know? And it gives people something to talk about. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Where did you get this? You know, what's that? You know, does it mean anything? You know, and things like that. And, you know, we can talk about it and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
That's a very good point. Giving somebody something to talk about.
Yeah.
Like this one dude that I was telling you that I said I wanted to give a makeover to, he'd been fed the same advice. He was told, you know, just be yourself and that's it. And being yourself is so important. Do not get me wrong. 100% advocate for that. But like we said, be your best self. And he would wear these shirts that were ripped. Like, literally, he had this one shirt that was of, like, the scientific method, and it had, like, rips in it. And he insisted on wearing it all the time. And I was like, no wonder you're getting rejected. Like, we don't want to see... And he had plenty of other great clothing, you know, great clothes to wear.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, look, if that's the only thing you have to wear, like, that's one thing. But it's not. It was a choice. And he chose to wear this dingy old shirt that he'd had for ages. Just because he liked it. I'm like, buy another one, the same one, or I don't know. It just it's a turn off. You don't want to see like you like looking like you just rolled out of bed, you know. And
right, yeah. You want a guy that has confidence is a guy that cares about what he looks like. Exactly. You know, like. Because you want to be presentable, you know what I mean, and things like that, you know. So yeah, absolutely, you know. And there was something else that you know you kind of broke down too that I wanted to circle back to, and you know, like when we're talking about looks, you know what I mean, and things like that. And you said that one guy, you know, he's attractive in a conventional sense, but he comes across like, you know, like with the T-shirt and all that kind of stuff that's dingy and blah blah blah. I have one of my students that I work with right now. He, like, women find him very attractive physically. You know, like, he has male model looks, you know, but he kept getting shot down time after time after time after time after time. And the thing is that the reason that he was getting shot down was he confided in me one day. He said, I have never actually had a deep conversation with a woman ever in my life.
That's why.
And I was like, ever? He was like, outside of my mom, no. And I was like, all right, that's the problem. You just don't know how to have a conversation on anything other than surfacey, you know, how you doing today? It's a beautiful day, you know, like that kind of stuff. You know, so what I had him do was I was like, forget about trying to, you know, get their number and try to, like, build attraction and things like that. All I want you to do is go up, start a conversation, and just have a conversation. And do this over and over and over and over and over. And now, after he's done that, now that he knows how to communicate and actually have deep, meaningful conversation, he's killing it now. You know what I mean? He's doing great. Yeah. You know? And so that was the crux of it. It wasn't just his looks. You know what I mean? Like, if it was just looks from a woman to man perspective, he would be doing just fine, but he's not, you know. And then conversely, somebody like myself, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to think I'm somewhat attractive, but I don't have male model good looks. And, you know, I've had girls tell me, like, after our first date, being like, I just realized how attractive you are. You know what I mean? Like, You didn't notice that at first or what, you know? But listen, we've got like 5 seconds left.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming